queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get mad. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of Eric Malcolm.
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine, you son. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine, you son. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? All right, hello everyone, Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, hello, Andrew. We the people is in the house. All right. That crazy beach Aries. Lorraine is here. Leon, Mel. Just anticipate. Let's get into it. Purpose 76. All right. Shout out to all of my Lord Royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. Okay, and shout out to my moderators putting in work. I see you, Nubian Cutie. Dark Tube is in the house. All right, Desmond. Okay, so without further ado, let's have a brief word from our sponsor so we can get into it.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, and don't forget that she also sells the beard oil for men. All right, let's get into it, honey, because Trump has so much going on. Now, he's talking about he's fired the Fed governor, Lisa Cook, demanding that she be removed, even though she says he doesn't even have the authorization to do so. Okay, that's out of his authority. So let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. Be sure to hit that like button. Before we get into that, let's talk about this fool and this executive order that he signed about the flag burning. I told you all about this on yesterday, but hold on, I'm going to the footage. Here we go.
Lastly, sir, this is an executive order on flag burning. It charges your attorney general.
Would you listen to this? This is very important. Flag burning. All over the country, they're burning flags. All over the world, they burn the American flag. And as you know, through a very sad court, I guess it was a 5-4 decision, they called it freedom of speech. But there's another reason, which is perhaps much more important. It's called death. Because what happens when you burn a flag is the area goes crazy. If you have hundreds of people, they go crazy. You could do other things. You can burn this piece of paper. But when you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy. In a way, both ways.
Now, just listen to the way this fool is grossly exaggerating. First of all, he's speaking as if flag burning is an epidemic or something. Okay. And then he said people go crazy, it incites riots and all this. How often have we had a riot incited due to flag burning?
There are some that are going crazy for doing it. There are others that are angry about them doing it. Do you want to discuss that?
Sure. So what the executive order does, sir, it charges your Department of Justice with investigating instances of flag burning. And then where there's evidence of criminal activity, where prosecution wouldn't fall afoul of the First Amendment, and instructs the Department of Justice to prosecute those who are engaged in these instances of flag burning.
And what the penalty is going to be, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail, no early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail. If you burn a flag, and what it does is incite to riot. I hope they use that language, by the way. Did they? Incite to riot. And you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. You don't get 10 years, you don't get 1 month. You get 1 year in jail, and it goes on your record. And you will see flag burning stopping immediately, just like when I signed the Statute and Monument Act.
Talking about you'll see flag burning stopping immediately, as if we see it every day when we go outside or something, as if it's just a common occurrence. This man is so stupid, making much to do about nothing. With all the things that he could and should be worried about, flag burning is one. Okay, trying to pretend he's so patriotic, but this is the same man who lied about bone spurs, okay, in his feet to keep from going to the war. Okay, please pay attention.
Years in jail. If you heard any of our beautiful monuments, everybody left town.
So,
they were gone. Never had a problem after that. It's pretty amazing. We stopped it. But this is something that's, I don't know, in a certain way, it's equally as important. Some people would say it's more important because the people in this country don't want to see our American flag burned and spit on. And by people that are, in many cases, paid agitators. They're paid by the radical left to do it.
What in the world is this man talking about? I mean, you have to realize at this point, he's just rambling. Okay, just babbling. What is he even talking about? Paid agitators and all of that.
To these people, they don't even know, half of them don't even know what they're doing. They say, I don't know, they gave me money to do this. I see the same things that you do. They're bad people. They're trying to destroy our nation. That's not working because I think our nation now is the most respected nation anywhere in the world by far. You saw that with the European leaders on Friday. You saw that with NATO, where they agreed to go from 2% no pay to 5% fully paid up, trillions of dollars paid, where they respect your president to a level that they jokingly call me the president of Europe. They call me the president of Europe, which is an honor. I like Europe, and I like those people. They're good people. They're great leaders. And we've never had a case where 7 plus really 28, essentially 38 countries were represented here the other day. 38 European countries were represented. European and other countries were represented, and it was a great meeting. But your country is respected again. I say it all the time. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Everybody said it. We had a dead country. We were not going to survive. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. So it's an honor to be involved. And this group has a lot to do with it right behind me. Does anybody behind me have anything? Pam, would you like to say something?
Sure, President. Thank you for keeping DC safe.
Hey, stop playing.
I am so done. Okay, I am so done. Did y'all hear that? Oh my goodness. He's acting like he's really doing something. Okay. Thank you for keeping America safe. Is that what she said? Rockstar Swag said, dead country. Exactly. Okay. Andrew says, Queen, are you allowed to hang the American flag upside down? Yes, if you want to. If you want to. I mean, I don't have an American flag anywhere around me per se, so I don't have to worry about those things. I don't feel the need to have one in my home, on my yard, in my back pocket, hanging from my truck. I don't feel the need. Okay. That's just me. But if I wanted to hang it upside down, I guess I could. And if you hang the flag upside down, you do understand that's a signal of distress. Okay, if you're riding around with your American flag upside down, somebody's going to think that there's something wrong. Okay, that's what that's for, code for distress. All right, so anyway, Trump is out of his mind. All right, talked about Biden, but look how he's acting. Anyway, let's move right along because he's saying that Fed Governor Lisa Cook is fired and he wants her removed. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it. And they're also talking about how nobody, they said, where's Congress? Okay, they said nobody's stopping this man. And I've been telling you all that for days. That they're just letting him do whatever he wants to do. Trump says he's firing Fed Governor Lisa Cook, opening a new front in the fight for central bank control. So President Donald Trump said Monday night that he's firing Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, an unprecedented move that will constitute a sharp escalation in his battle to exert greater control over what has long been considered an institution independent from day-to-day politics. Now, Trump said in a letter posted on his Truth Social platform that he is removing Cook effective immediately because of allegations that she committed mortgage fraud. Now, mind you, he didn't say because it was proven. He said allegations. So you can get fired, according to him, just for someone accusing you of something, specifically if he's the one accusing you. So Cook said Monday night that she would not step down, saying President Trump purported to fire me for cause when no cause exists under the law, and he has no authority to do so. Okay, that's what she said in an emailed statement saying, I will not resign. Now, Bill Pulte, a Trump appointee to the agency that regulates mortgage giants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, made the accusations last week. He alleged that Cook had claimed two primary residences in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Atlanta back in 2021 to get better mortgage terms. Mortgage rates are often higher on second homes or those purchased to rent. So Trump's move is likely to touch off an extensive legal battle that will probably go to the Supreme Court and could disrupt financial markets. Stock futures declined slightly late Monday, as did the dollar against the other major currencies. Now, if Trump succeeds in removing Cook from the board, it could erode the Fed's political independence, which is considered critical to its ability to fight inflation because it enables it to take unpopular steps like raising interest rates. Now, if bond investors start to lose faith that the Fed will be able to control inflation, they will demand higher rates to own bonds, pushing up borrowing costs for mortgages, car loans, business loans. Y'all hear that? Cook has retained Abe Lowell, a prominent Washington attorney, and Lowell says that Trump's reflex to bully is flawed and his demands lack any proper process, basis, or legal authority, adding that we will take whatever actions are needed to prevent his attempted illegal action. Trump seems to be doing a whole lot of things that are illegal, and no one seems to be getting in his way. Cook was appointed to the Fed's board by then President Joe Biden in 2022 and is the first Black woman to serve as a governor. She was a Marshall Scholar and received degrees from Oxford University and Spelman College, and she has taught at Michigan State University and Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government. Her nomination was opposed by most state Republicans, and she was approved on a 50-50 vote, with the tie broken by then Vice President Kamala Harris. Okay, so I want y'all to pay attention. So she was opposed by most Senate Republicans. All right, y'all heard that? The law allows the president to fire a Fed governor for cause, which typically means for some kind of wrongdoing or dereliction of duty. The president cannot fire a governor simply because of differences over interest rate policy, which is exactly what Trump's trying to do. Now, establishing a for-cause removal typically requires some type of proceeding that would allow Cook to answer the charges and present evidence, according to legal experts. Now, which that hasn't happened in this case. So Trump's just trying to oust her without going through the proper protocols and proper channels, which makes it illegal. Now, they say this is procedurally invalid removal under the statute. This is what Lev Menand, a law professor at Columbia Law School and author of The Fed Unbound, a book about the Fed's actions during the stupid-19 pandemic. Now, Menand also said for cause firings are typically related to misconduct while in office rather than based on private misconduct from before an official's appointment. Okay, this is not someone convicted of a crime, he says. This is not someone who is not carrying out their duties. A Fed governor wrote on the Fed governors vote on the central bank's interest rate decisions and on issues of financial regulation. So while they are appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate, they are not like cabinet secretaries who serve at the pleasure of the president, Trump. Okay, they serve 14-year terms that are staggered in an effort to insulate the Fed from political influence. So anyway, Trump's doing too much. So while presidents have clashed with Fed chairs before, no president has ever sought to fire a Fed governor. In recent decades, presidents of both parties have largely respected Fed independence, though Richard Nixon and Lyndon B. Johnson put heavy pressure on the Fed during their presidencies, mostly behind closed doors. Still, that behind the scenes pressure to keep interest rates low, the same goal sought by Trump, has widely been blamed for touching off rampant inflation in the late 1960s and 70s. Okay, so that I've been saying. In other words, Trump, this is not your jurisdiction. Okay, this is out of your bounds of authority. But we know Trump doesn't care about that. He's going to do what he wants to do, right? Especially if no one's there to stop him. Okay, so let me go to this news footage. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Talk about doing too much. That is what Trump is always doing.
Line the way you trade.
He does too much in the way of doing the wrong things, not the things that he needs to be doing. If only he would do too much of that. Okay?
An executive order yesterday directing the Justice Department to investigate and prosecute people for burning the American flag.
Didn't the Supreme Court already?
They did.
handle
They ruled,
this?
Long time ago.
1989 actually is the year that the Supreme Court ruled the Constitution allows it. The president acknowledged this ruling when signing the order yesterday, but seemed to brush it off.
All over the country, they're burning flags. All over the world, they burn the American flag. And as you know, through a very sad court, I guess it was a 5-4 decision. No early.
One of our most important tech companies. Yesterday, after this executive order, you had Eric Erickson on flag burning. Obviously, Eric, like me and like I think most Americans, despise flag burning. But Eric Erickson once again said, "What are we doing here? What are we doing? What's the purpose of this?" Especially since the Supreme Court has already settled on this. Talk about why the president did something that he knows the Supreme Court is likely to rule unconstitutional.
Well, because nobody's going to stop him if and until it winds its way through the courts. And so when you're trying to accumulate power and you're trying to reset the table for the rules of the game, you just declare yourself the arbiter of the rules, and you say, try and stop me. And look, as we've seen with Trump, whether you like what he's done or not, and of course on the right with a lot of Republican voters, they like it. What he's doing is saying that I'm not going to follow convention. I'm not going to get caught up in the details of the Constitution. I'm more concerned about you and doing what's right. You saw in that clip with, where he's saying, I'm not a dictator. I don't like dictators. I'm just a man with common sense. I mean, this is a part of the language and a part of the political message, which is we're not having a philosophical debate here. We're not getting caught up in legal details. I'm concerned about you and your everyday life and making life better for you. It goes back to his opening speech 10 years ago when he, talked about Republicans who were arguing over who was more conservative. And the president said, I think people just want a job. Now, we're a far cry from that speech, but it's part and parcel of his approach. And in this second term, you have nobody around him who's willing to stop him or who's inclined to stop him. They're inclined to try and find legal reasoning for whatever he wants to do. And look, Republicans in Congress are simply, unless something changes, they've watched the president go through everything he went through at the end of his first term and in the interregnum, and they're saying to themselves, it is not politically prudent for me to get in the way of him. And
Right.
Joe, I don't have to tell you, but the way our system's designed is checks and balances, right? Congress
Right.
is supposed to be there to check the president. And if the Supreme Branch is not going to do its job, then we're going to end up in this situation.
And see, this is what I've been telling you all. I'm like, where is Congress? Okay, where are the articles of impeachment? Okay, I'm sorry. Why is he still just doing all of this crazy stuff and no one is putting him in check? The Republicans stand behind him looking like AI. Okay, with these stupid looks on their faces. They all look like AI. Don't you think so? They look ridiculous just standing there with these somber faces looking like they're programmed. The Democrats doing nothing but talking trash, a few of them, but making no serious moves. This man is just driving his country straight to hell. Okay? And then the fact that he was talking about sending Abrego Garcia to Uganda is diabolical work. And nobody thinks that's crazy. I absolutely cannot. Songwriter Sonny says Congress is meant to prevent us from making progress. Excellent point. That's the pros and the cons, huh? But let's continue because this is all crazy.
Yeah, and the Supreme Branch is the Article 1 branch. It is it's Congress. Specifically, it is the House of Representatives.
People forget we don't have co-equal branches. We have Article 1, the Supreme Branch, and then the other two.
Right.
But the Article 1 branch is acting like Article none.
Yeah, and the Article 1 branch, as we all, when we were there and, fighting to balance the budget all those years ago, you'd have members that would wear buttons that said Article 1. Mm-hmm. And anytime a president, anytime a member of the Senate.
I want you all to pay attention because I guarantee you all didn't notice what he just did. Did anybody notice what this news reporter just did? He just threw up that symbol. Did y'all not notice that? Did anybody just notice the symbol he just threw up? Because why did he need to make that hand gesture just to show what he just did? I'm going to go back to it because y'all missed it. Okay? Watch this. I'm going to rewind it. Now watch this guy right here. Watch when he's showing something on his jacket, how he does his hand. Y'all missed that, but I saw it. Let's go back.
Once the budget all those years ago, you'd have members that.
Y'all see that? Y'all see that? He's holding up the wanton supremacist signal. Are y'all paying attention? He literally just did this right here on the news. Look at that. How did y'all miss it? Now, did he really have to do his hands like that to point out what he was pointing out? No, he didn't. But that's what he did. I told y'all, honey, I don't miss a beat. I'm always paying attention. Y'all see that? But let's continue.
Would wear buttons that said Article 1. Mm-hmm. And anytime a president, anytime a member of the Senate, anytime anybody ever gave us.
Now, that was almost slick how he did it. Okay? You see how they do it, like on the slide. Like he's just showing something. You didn't have to do all that. Why would you have to put your fingers in that position to show something on your shirt? Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. But anyway, let's continue.
Guff, I'll say this morning, for the children who are waking up, would say, we got the checkbook. You can insult us all you want to. You can try to run over us all you want to. But if we don't pay for it, if we don't authorize it, if we don't appropriate the money for it, you can't do it. And these people are acting just so weak. It's incredible. But, Gene Robinson, here we are. Again, we just talked about crime where the president set something up, hoping the Democrats will oppose it and make him look like he's tough on crime. We have it with the same thing with the flag. The president does something that he knows the Supreme Court's already said he can't do.
Chipotle just dropped Build Your Own Chipotle.
Let's go! A mini Chipotle experience at home.
It feeds 4 to
He doesn't expect anything out of this other than Democrats to immediately come out and support flag burning. And he can say, look, they're supporting flag burning. I mean, it's almost like George H.W. Bush going to flag factories in the summer of 1988. It's like it just sets Democrats up to hell. So they need to be able to say something and point to people like Eric Erickson, who says the president's executive order on flag burning isn't legal, but it will get the Democrats to go out and burn American flags. Yet again, putting them on the 20% side of an 80-20 issue. I don't think Democrats will go out and burn American flags. But I would say even this issue is not an 80-20 issue. I would say this is probably a 95-5 issue. I mean, overwhelming majority of Americans deeply offended, like I am, and angry when people burn the American flag. But again, that we live in a country that allow the Klan to march down the street in Skokie, Illinois. It's the First Amendment. And, the First Amendment is not meant to protect speech that we like. It's meant to protect speech that we hate.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't allow unpopular speech and sometimes ugly speech, the First Amendment doesn't mean anything. That's what it's there for. And I just really wanted to point out that one of the justices who joined in that 1989 decision that said, no, flag burning is protected was Antonin Scalia. Justice Scalia, one of the most conservative justices.
A North Star for conservatives,
in American history, joined liberal Justice Brennan's opinion that it was protected by the Constitution. And Scalia later asked about it. Said, "Look, if it were up to me, I would put every scruffy flag burner in jail. But I am not king." And Donald Trump, you are not king. Now, Congress and the Supreme Court should tell you that, should remind you that you are not king, but you are not king. You don't get to make up a law and a penalty with an executive order and just say, you're in jail and you get your head chopped off or whatever. I mean, this is ridiculous. What country is this? This is insane. And so you're probably right. It is a political move. It's just to make noise and fill out this episode of the Donald Trump reality show. But where is Congress and where is the Supreme Court? Because it's time for you guys to get in the game.
Yeah, I'm very glad that on this Tuesday morning we're back to restoring monarchy.
Okay, there they go. Everybody talking trash, but nobody's doing any darn thing. Okay, please make it all make sense. At this point, I'm just over it. Okay, I am just over it. Now, with that all being said, I just want you all to pay attention because everybody that he's attacking in the media lately is a Black person. Okay, are you all noticing this? All right, Wes Moore, a Black governor, just going in on Mayor Johnson. All right, a Black man, just going in on everybody. talking trash about the governor or the mayor of Chicago, just doing too much. Queen, can you please play Governor Pritzer? He was good yesterday. I'll play that when I get to it. We're going to talk about that. But I find that all very interesting. Now, here's the thing. As I told you all, Lisa Cook said that Trump has no cause, that no cause exists under the law for him to have the authority. He has no authority to fire her, to remove her from her job. Okay, like she said, which she was appointed to by Joe Biden, 2022, for a 14-year term. I will not resign. I will continue to carry out my duties to help the American economy as I have been doing since 2022. That's what she said in her statement. And, you know, like I said, Trump is just doing too much now. I told you all on last night how he's now weaponizing government funding, okay? Because of his beef with the mayor of Baltimore, Wes Moore, or the governor of Baltimore, Wes Moore, now he's talking about not giving them the funding to repair the bridge, okay, to rebuild that bridge. So this is all economic weaponization. That's what that is. And Trump's just doing plenty of it. And not to mention, he lied on that man as well. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in just a second. Let me go to this video right here. Everyone hit that like button. Thank you in advance. Mel said Trump is trying to fire her because she's black. Yeah, he's messing with all these black people in positions of power. That is clear to see.
Policy through sympathetic surrogates. Andrew.
I have a million questions, but actually Will asked a very good one before we began the broadcast. So I would actually like to hand the floor over to Will for that important question.
Thanks very much, Andrew. Which is, do you think Powell will come out and publicly back her?
I don't know. I think that the Fed chair may want to just sort of sit on the sidelines of this. I think other members of the board, I think, will back her in a sense of saying, we need to have a fact finding on this. And there is none so far. I asked FHFA several questions and they have not responded. I asked them how Bill Pulte came across this. Were they specifically targeting Fed officials? Were other Fed officials targeted? I asked the extent to which other people have been referred for criminal prosecution, if this is, and how widespread this is. So I don't know, Wilf. The allegation is out there, but whether or not that pertains and is a matter for cause is a really unclear question.
I think there's a question here. There's actually a whole bunch of questions, but you can hold two things in your mind at the same time. You can hold, and I think we've talked about this, you can hold in your mind that she may have done something inappropriate, incorrect, possibly illegal, we don't know, and believe that she's being prosecuted for political purposes. You think that's fair?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's just assume that that's the case. My then next question is, you've been on this for the past week, you were in Jackson Hole. If what she did was an innocent mistake, so I'm just going on that side first, I'm surprised that she hasn't come out more publicly and said, look, this is what happened, this is the story, and I'm sticking to it. Why do you think she hasn't done that? Because if it was pretty simple, I think you'd say it's pretty simple. It's something you could go to court over and, you know, go down the line and follow that. If it's complicated and or it's wrong, you don't say anything up front because it gets more complicated as you go.
I don't have a good answer for that. I mean, I think that if you read her statements carefully, she has not responded to the allegations themselves. It may be her contention that the allegations are not relevant to the question at hand, which is the authority of the president to fire her as a governor.
Right.
And that's where she appears as if she and her attorneys are fighting this question, which is on the legality of the dismissal. Can the president do this? Not whether or not there's actual cause.
But there have been people who have left the board over controversies around trading and other things.
Not fired by the president.
Not fired by the president. No, and I'm trying to think of some of the examples of people who stepped down over trading, for example, just a couple of years ago. How did that happen?
There were referrals, I believe, to the IG and probably the chair went up and put his arm around them and said, "It's time for you to go." And I think that's
right.
important.
And this goes back a little bit to Wilf's question, I think.
Well, it's important in the sense that it was left inside the Fed, but this is no longer inside the Fed.
Can I ask on the legal point though, because she's saying I'm not resigning. So what is the legal standings? Like, where are we right now? Is it that she's been fired and she's appealing that decision, or that the letter that the president has posted publicly is completely irrelevant?
We are exactly where your question implies we are, which is nobody knows. I didn't even know.
So
to
she's
say,
still in place right now.
Let me just say a question. Well, I didn't even know whether or not to say in my report this morning that the president fired Lisa Cook. I don't know if she's fired. Do you know if she's fired?
No.
Anybody
No,
at
but
the table?
he said that she's fired.
He said she's fired.
That is
But
so.
she says he has no authority to fire her.
That's why I wondered what Powell's going to say, because next time they have a vote,
The Fed has to say something. If it's supposed to be inside the Fed and they're the ones that are technically in charge, if that's the argument, then they would have to say something about
The
this.
Fed chair has to say something.
Can I fast forward a little bit as well in terms of the fairly calm markets in light of this,
Yeah.
I would say, which is either way, if we look at the last 3 to 6 months, the president's not going to stop on this path now. One way or another, he's going to keep going.
Okay, I'm tired of listening to them. They're not coming to any resolutions. They seem to not have any answers. They seem to have, in fact, more questions than answers. Listen, the bottom line is Trump's doing whatever he wants to do and nobody's stopping him. So he just continues on his rampage. Okay, that's how it looks. Now, let's hear what the governor of Baltimore has to say.
All right, it's 35 past the hour. What's the status of crime in Baltimore?
Well, we continue to listen to the president make just blissfully ignorant comments about Baltimore and really going back to 1980s scare tactics and tropes about our American cities. And what I said is that, you should really come be informed and come be educated, because if you came and spent time with the people on the ground who are actually doing the work, you could not only see the progress that's being made, but also see the devotion that the people who actually live in these communities and the people who are the elected officials who are serving these communities, the devotion that we all have to making sure that our communities can improve. And, it's not lost on me, the fact that we had work to do. When I first became the governor of Maryland, Baltimore had over 17,000 vacant homes, that Baltimore was averaging almost a homicide a day, that there was a complete neglect that we saw in Baltimore for my predecessor. But since I've been the governor the past 2.5 years, we have now cut the number of vacant homes in half in the city of Baltimore. The state of Maryland is having amongst the fastest drops in violent crime anywhere in the United States. The city of Baltimore, the last time the homicide rate was this low, I was not born yet. That we're watching a population increase that is now.
Now, I want you all to look closely at the looks on their faces. They look very uncomfortable and, quite frankly, unimpressed with everything that he's saying. Do you all notice that? And now, since we know this guy right here is a wanton supremacist, it all makes sense. Please pay attention.
Ranked the 4th best place for college graduates. And so we are seeing a resurgence that it would be great if the president would actually come and spend time and learn about what we are doing instead of just throwing jabs at me and jabs at the city of Baltimore from the Oval Office.
So, Governor, let me ask you about what the president would see when he got there, and following up on what we've been saying about Washington, how could the president be a better partner with you and also Baltimore? Because Baltimore is one of the most violent cities, based on 2024 stats, one of the most violent cities in America. You're talking about improvements that have been made, and that's great to hear. But what would you ask this president or any president? What could this president do in particular to help the people of Baltimore, to help you, to help the mayor?
Running hurts. Tai Chi heals, especially after.
I think if he came to Baltimore, he'd see coordination. He'd see the fact that you have a governor and a mayor and a state's attorney and local law enforcement and community groups that are actively working together to be able to help solve the issue. You know, since I've been the governor, we've made historic investments in local law enforcement in the state of Maryland. Over $50 million has gone to Baltimore City alone. That we made historic investments in our state's attorney's office to make sure we're increasing the closure rate. And also now one of the only states that actually helps to fund the U.S. attorney out of balance sheet. So we're able to turn a lot of these gun crimes into federal charges.
Okay, so according to this information I just looked up, cities with the highest violent crime rates in 2025 are Memphis, Tennessee, number 1, St. Louis, Missouri, number 2, Detroit, Michigan, 3, Baltimore, Maryland, 4, New Orleans, Louisiana, 5, and Cleveland, Ohio, coming in at number 6. Y'all hear that? You know who isn't on there? Atlanta. Please pay attention.
And I think you're seeing also historic investment in our community intervention groups. You know, I was just with a group just last week, a group called We Are Us, out in the streets of Baltimore, who, you know, talk about we're all we got, we're all we need. And that's exactly right. Because if you think about the work that's happening, if the president wanted to make investments and stop cutting things like funding towards FBI and ATF offices in Baltimore, stop cutting funding towards gun prevention programs, actually focus on things like ghost gun and legislation around the banning of ghost guns and Glock switches. Those are things that could actually work. License plate readers. These are things that could actually work that the president could focus on.
So Governor, let me ask you, like, we're going to pull back here for a second and take a look at this from 30,000 feet. And then we're going to go to Rev to continue on this line of questioning. But first, I just want to ask you just in general, what historically has been Baltimore's greatest challenge? Why has Baltimore had a crime problem over the past 3-4 decades?
Well, I think oftentimes Baltimore's had a neglect problem. You know, and I think about Baltimore used to be a city of 920,000 people. Baltimore is now a city of just under 600,000. In fact, if you look at the past few decades, Baltimore's had one of the most precipitous drops in population that we have seen in our country, with the exception of Cleveland and Detroit. But let's also remember this. There's a legacy of Baltimore, that Baltimore is the home of redlining, that Baltimore is the home of housing racial segregation, that Baltimore is, you know, while we're proud of the fact that Baltimore is the home of Thurgood Marshall, Baltimore is also the home of some of the most creative segregationist policies that this country has seen. And
ooh, honey, I bet they weren't expecting that. I bet they weren't expecting that. Look at the looks on their faces. Look at Al Sharpton. They're all clearly uncomfortable. That's not a conversation they're ready to have, okay? They're probably thinking, sir, but we didn't ask you about redlining and systemic racism. We asked you about the crime and all that. Okay, way to go, Governor Moore. All right, look at their faces. Look at Al Sharpton, bobblehead. Bobblehead himself is perplexed, okay? He has nothing to say. I want you all to pay attention. Now, this man right here throwing up that wanton supremacist symbol, I'm really going to be watching him, okay? Because that's exactly what he must be, allegedly. But let's continue.
so the thing that we are so proud of as Baltimoreans and people who believe in the future of Baltimore is we know that Baltimore is resilient. Despite the challenges that Baltimore has seen, despite the challenges that Baltimore's had imposed upon Baltimore, it continues to rise. So the population increase we're now seeing in Baltimore, the fact that we're watching Baltimore now is the 7th fastest growing economy inside of the entire country. You know, Baltimore now has a vibrant and a new vision for what does the inner harbor and the downtown corridor look like, and also what do the neighborhoods look like. But that's work that's being done by people on the ground. And what we want for the President of the United States and for everyone else to say is instead of talking about Baltimore, come learn about the resilience and the beauty of the people of Baltimore, and you will see the pride that we all have and what this city can actually be as we all work together to get it done.
Governor, staying 30,000 feet view, as Joe said, the whole idea of looking at the fact that the government under Donald Trump, federal government wants to come in and threaten it to come into Baltimore, it's coming to other areas, or threatening to come in other areas, certainly what they're doing in Washington, D.C. I've seen a racial element here because there's always cities, it seems so far, that has black mayors, and in your case, a black governor. It also is strange to me that a party that had members that always wanted states' rights is now the party buying into intel and is overtaking states in how they are successfully bringing down the crime rates. I don't know how all of a sudden they switch to the government ought to be running the states, even when the states are being run successfully. But explain to us about the threat of stopping the funds for rebuilding the bridge and how vital that bridge is to the economy and workers there in Baltimore and those that do business with Baltimore.
Proposition 50, the Election
Now,
Rigging
sit your little
Response Act.
doublehead ass down somewhere.
Thanks, Rev. And first, you're absolutely right. You know, I'm new to politics. My background is, you know, I was a soldier. I left.
Look at the look on Al's face, y'all. Doesn't it look like somebody just propped him up there? Like he's just like propped in that chair? Look at him. Sorry, but I absolutely cannot with Al Sharpton. Fraudulent self. But let's continue. Look at him. If the wind blows the wrong way, he's going to fall over. Light as a feather and stiff as a board. Pay attention.
Paratroopers in combat, and I led one of the largest poverty fighting organizations in this country. So I'm new to this politics thing, but I always thought that the Republican Party was the one who always talked about how let's get big government out of our lives. And we have never seen such an outreach of big government like we are seeing with the Trump administration. I mean, it's absolutely fascinating. But the bridge and you know, for the president to make such an ignorant comment about how he gave us all this money, let's be clear and let's put a context on this. That on March 26th, a year and a half ago, we saw tragedy strike, one of the greatest tragedies in our state's history, where a ship the size of 3 football fields slammed into a 2-mile-long bridge that has always served as the backdrop of Baltimore. In that, we had thousands of people who lost their jobs instantaneously. We had 13% of my state's economy shut down instantaneously, and we had 6 construction workers who were fixing potholes who lost their lives. And I'm so proud of the fact that Baltimore and the state of Maryland put on a case study about how to not just make sure we're taking care of our people, but also when people said it would take 11 months to clear that federal channel, we got it cleared in 11 weeks. And we have had the same kind of progress.
Okay, so he's not lying. They did a very good job in getting everything cleared up and everything. And Trump really needs to sit down somewhere, okay? Now, here's the thing. Trump is just so sickening because, first of all, we all know that he lied about bone spurs to keep from going to the military during the draft. But then he has the nerve to talk about this man here. And so he has been debunked yet again. His lies have come to surface. He also lied and said this man told him that he was the best president ever. Now, when he said that, I knew it was all cap. And so now he's been debunked yet again, just caught up in the midst of all his lies. Okay, it's just so ridiculous. But let's listen to him because I absolutely love it. Trump continues to be the source of all of our entertainment with his stupid self. Okay, but you know, we can laugh now because I can guarantee you we're likely going to be crying later. Okay, if somebody doesn't put a stop to him, he needs to be served with the articles of impeachment post haste. All right, I'm not even joking.
Horrible deathbed. It's a deathbed. I know Governor Moore said, oh, he wants to take a walk with me. He meant it in a derogatory tone. I said, no, I'm the president of the United States. Clean up your crime and I'll walk with you. But it's tremendous crime. But he was trying to be derogatory. He doesn't have what it takes.
Now, I want you to pay attention. He said that Governor Moore told him take a walk with me and said he was trying to be derogatory. So he's trying to imply that the man was going to take a walk to beat him up or do something to him. Is that what he's trying to imply? Because that's what it sounds like. You know how somebody says, let's take it outside? He says the governor told him, take a walk with me, and meant it in a derogatory term. So he's acting as if this black man was threatening to take him outside to fight. This man is insane. But let's continue.
But he's trying to be derogatory. And I met him at the Army-Navy game. They said, oh, there's Governor Moore. He'd love to see you. He came over to me, he hugged me, shook my hand. You were there. He said, sir, you're the greatest president of my lifetime. I said, but it's really nice that you say that. I'd love you to say it publicly, but I don't think you can do that, so it's okay. But no, sir, you're doing a fantastic job. I want to just shake your hand. Thank you very much, Governor. That was it. And then every time I see him on television, he's knocking the hell out of me. So, but that's all right. It's called politics.
Now, y'all just heard him lie and say that man shook his hand and told him that he's the best president of his lifetime. Now, you know that's all lies. This is what Trump tells himself. Okay, and now we have the proof that the man didn't tell him any such thing, which I'll show momentarily, because y'all know I'll be bringing the receipts.
But Governor Moore's he's doing a bad job.
U.S. President Donald Trump has escalated tensions by threatening to deploy troops to Baltimore after Governor Wes Moore invited him for a public safety walk through the city's neighborhoods. In a sharply worded social media post, Trump accused the Democratic governor of having a terrible crime record, comparing him to California Governor Gavin Newsom, while insisting that if Moore truly needs help, he will send in the troops, just as he did in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C.
A 3-part Providence Falls special event.
We're doing a real job, and I'm so proud of D.C. I passed it 2 days ago, and all the garbage is off the streets. It's terrible. I came in a month and a half ago. I'm driving down and I see garbage all over the place. The streets were a pigsty. Like I won't use the city's names, but you know what I'm talking about. There are plenty of them outside of this country and inside of this.
Now, he said Baltimore is a horrible, horrible deathbed. That's what he called it. He called it a horrible, horrible deathbed. Now, he just sat up here and lied on this man, saying that the man told him that he was the greatest president in his lifetime. The man said no such thing, and I'll be showing you the lie. But right now, let's go to where he says that this man did not get the bronze medal. Okay, he's trying to accuse this man, not trying to, he literally did accuse this man of having stolen valor. Okay? Stolen valor. Hold on. Let me pull this up right here. Is this it? I want y'all to pay attention. Here we go. No, I'm going to play that one last. Hold on. Okay, so let's go right here because they basically say this man has stolen valor. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to make sure I pull up the right video. Here it is, right here. Now, since Trump said that, he's got people out here calling this man names, saying this man's a liar who lies, and all of this. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention. Here we go.
And loving your country does not mean lying. Loving your country does not mean lying.
Let me tell you something. There's nothing worse than telling a dumbass lie and getting caught telling a dumbass lie.
Yep, in 2006, Wes Moore lied on a government forum at the White House that he was a Bronze Star recipient and continued to publicly lie and not correct reporters years after, including a 2008 PBS interview with the legend Gwen Ifill.
Wesley Moore, a captain in the U.S. Army Reserve, while on active duty, he completed a combat tour of duty in Afghanistan and earned a Bronze Star medal. Welcome to you all.
You're a liar.
Can't Stop, Won't Stop. In 2010, Wes Moore answered an affirmative yes when Stephen Colbert asked if he had a Bronze Star.
Decorated veteran of the Afghan War, correct? Get the Bronze Star.
You're a liar.
Wes Moore's habitual lying goes from Bronze Stars to even his book, where he lies about being from the mean streets of Baltimore, conveniently at a time when the HBO series The Wire was wildly popular.
The New York Times best-selling book, The Other Westmore. Reading the book, it would appear Moore is from the streets of Charm City.
You're a liar.
But we're unable.
They said he lied about being from the mean streets of Baltimore. Conveniently, when the show The Wire was out. Now let's keep listening.
Any evidence candidate Westmore being born or growing up in Charm City. Our research finding Moore was born in Washington, D.C., briefly living in Tacoma Park, then moving to New York City at a young age, attending the prestigious Riverdale Country School in the Bronx, then attending a military academy in Pennsylvania. And at this point in Moore's life, his mother was living in Pasadena, more than 15 miles away from Baltimore City.
This is my home and the place that supported me. Literally, I write on page 7 of my book about where I was born, and I write on page 37 of my book about my family transitioning from Maryland up to New York.
You're a liar.
Flip to page 166. Moore's words claiming he lived in the city, writing, quote, "In West Baltimore, we lived like kings compared to this." Where did you live when you lived in Baltimore City?
Yeah, so we lived over in Waverly, and so when I first got a chance to live here full time in Baltimore,
Which was when?
It wasn't until I was in college.
That's when he was a student at Hopkins. But there are several examples of speaking engagements and hosts introducing Moore as a Baltimore native dating back years.
These were areas that we knew. These were blocks that we knew.
You picked John Hopkins for undergrad. I did.
Why?
Part of it was a chance for me to go back home to Baltimore.
Two kids with the same name were born blocks apart in the same decaying city within a year of each other.
How can we continue to build up a place that is not just my hometown, but you can understand my story without understanding Baltimore?
Do you think you misled the public at all?
I do not think I misled the public at all.
You're a liar.
So, Maryland, do you believe Governor Westmore when he promises to make Maryland's budget great again?
This is a deeply fiscally responsible budget.
You're a liar.
Insufficient funds.
Okay, with that all being said, here's the thing. I don't know if he grew up in Baltimore or not, but I found it funny the way they were trying to go in on him. But here's the thing. So apparently what he didn't lie about is that bronze star or that bronze medal. All right. Trump needs to sit down somewhere because we already know he lied about bone spurs.
Earlier today, multi-time draft dodger Donald Trump questioned for no apparent reason if veteran Wes Moore was lying about receiving a Bronze Star. Look at this. He put on his Truth Social this morning, did Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, lie about getting a Bronze Star? So Ed asked Grok, did Wes Moore receive a Bronze Star after serving in the U.S. military in Afghanistan, yes or no? And take a look at his response. Yes, Maryland Governor Wes Moore did receive a Bronze Star in December of 2024 for his meritorious service in Afghanistan from 2005 to 2006. It was awarded retroactively after his former commander resubmitted the recommendation following a 2024 controversy over a premature claim on a 2006 application. Misinformation always spreads when people ignore the full story. Wes Moore served honorably in Afghanistan, and he was awarded the Bronze Star after a delay caused by paperwork and processing issues. This is, of course, something that happens frequently in the military. But instead of respecting a decorated veteran, the draft dodger, Donald Trump, twists the story around to suit his political narrative. Think about it. The president of the United States is smearing a veteran for something that's already been confirmed and validated online multiple different times. That's not just dishonest, it's disrespectful to every single veteran who put their life on the line for this country.
Okay. That's why Trump needs to shut his mouth. He is just a hater. I mean, somebody who would never, and he's desperate right now. He absolutely thinks that he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Is he serious? Okay, that's the only reason he's trying to go around here and have negotiations for peace and all of that, because he wants something out of it. All right, he's sitting here desperate and begging, but meanwhile, wants to try to discredit someone who actually earned one.
From the Truth OC, in case you missed this, Donald Trump put out a Truth Social post yesterday where he said, did Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, lie about getting a Bronze Star? And the Democrats always miss on these issues. And if I'm the Democrats, I hold a press conference in front of either the Pentagon or the Capitol. And I have all my members there, as many people as possible, governors, senators, congressmen, and women. And I say, we are here today to speak about something that happened yesterday that has us collectively outraged, dumbfounded, and we've decided that enough is enough. In case you guys missed this, yesterday, the sitting president of the United States questioned whether Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland and a proud veteran, lied about receiving a Bronze Star. And Wes Moore served honorably, courageously in Afghanistan as a member of the military. He is a veteran. He was a proud soldier, and he is proud of his service.
Trisha says he did lie about the Bronze Star. He just got it last December 2024. Yes, he just got it. But did you hear what the young man said when he gave the explanation? He just got it because the paperwork was messed up. And sometimes that happens. He was supposed to have already been awarded it, but the paperwork, when it was submitted by his superior officer, it got mixed up. So he had to resubmit it. So the fact that he said he had it, he did have it. It wasn't in his possession, but he'd already been told that he was going to receive it. So did he actually lie? I don't think so. Okay, if somebody tells you you won something and you just don't have it in your possession, does that mean you didn't win? Because that's what it sounds like they're saying. Okay, so it's not like he made it all up. It was just a paperwork issue. Okay, that's just how that works. So he definitely didn't lie. And at the end of the day, Donald Trump is the last one who needs to be trying to talk about somebody who actually fought for this country when he did everything he could to avoid doing just that. Okay, this lying, no good, felonious self.
To have the sitting president once again attack a veteran, as he did when he mocked POWs when referring to John McCain and said that POWs aren't heroes because they were captured. Here we sit again. And we just want to say about our sitting president, how dare you? How fucking dare you? You had 3, no 4, no 5 deferments for bone spurs in your cankles. You had those because your friend of your father happened to be a physician who wrote the notes for you. And you did that so you wouldn't have to serve. 5 draft deferments so you wouldn't have to serve in the military. You are a man who lies repeatedly about people. You are a man who refused to visit a military cemetery because it was raining. You're a man who referred to those enlisted as suckers and as fools. You are a disgrace, an absolute disgrace, and the audacity of you to question someone's military service when you had, 3, no 4, no 5 deferments for your bone spurs and your cankles is insane. And since we hear, let's talk about your other great embarrassment to patriotism, which is in the aftermath of 9/11, which took place in your home city of New York. You lied about, quote unquote, sending 100 men to help with the recovery. You lied about donating $10,000 to the 9/11 fund. You lied about witnessing with your own eyes Muslims celebrating atop a building in Jersey City while the towers were falling. And you lied, flat out, straight up lied about going down and helping with the recovery. You are a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. And every time you talk about patriotism, every time you talk about honor, you are a liar and a fraud. And you brought up today how you want to make it a felony to burn the flag. You don't know anything about service to this flag. You don't know about anything about service to this nation. And if you truly were a patriot, you would defend with all your honor the right to burn the flag, because to burn the flag is your ultimate statement in freedom of speech, something you care nothing about. So we don't expect you to apologize because you learned long ago to never apologize. But Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, the owner of a Bronze Star, has more patriotism, more honor in his pinky than you will ever have in your entire body. So please do us a favor. Shut the fuck up about veterans. Stop mocking POWs. Stop mocking Bronze Star winners. Stop calling people who serve suckers and losers. Stop lying. Just please, in the service of this country, if you'd like to finally serve this country, shut.
Okay, y'all heard what that man said, honey, and I absolutely agree with him. Now, Trisha said that's not how the military works. Well, apparently it is, beloved. Okay, y'all gonna learn. Y'all gonna learn. Y'all know I bring the receipts, okay? Now, here we go again. See right there. Okay, can a military, this is what I typed in just to your satisfaction. Can a military soldier receive their medal years later due to a paperwork mix-up? Okay, did I ask the question to your liking? Because here's what it says. Yes, a military member can receive a medal years later due to paperwork error or mix-up. There are established procedures to correct military records and issue medals that were not awarded at the appropriate time. Lost or mishandled paperwork, soldier in unavailable status, insufficient initial evidence, veteran status. It gives you a myriad of reasons why someone would not get their medal when they were supposed to get it, beloved, okay? So that is absolutely how the military works, okay? I have family members who have been in the military. Uncle in the Navy, a brother who's National Guard, okay, a cousin who was in the Army. Okay, I'm just saying. Now, with that all being said, we just cleared up one of the lies that Donald Trump told on that man, okay? Saying Governor Wes Moore didn't get the Bronze Star. Yes, he did. He got the bronze medal. Now, let's go to the other lie where he says that Wes Moore told him, Governor Wes Moore, that is, told him that he was the best president in his lifetime when he met him at some military base. So let's see if that pans out to be true, because we know Trump's a liar who lies.
I met him at the Army-Navy game. They said, "Oh, there's Governor Moore. He'd love to see you." He came over to me, he hugged me, shook my hand. You were there. He said, "Sir, you're the greatest president of my lifetime." I said, "But it's really nice that you say that. I'd love you to say it publicly, but I don't think you can do that, so it's okay." And then every time I see him on television, he's knocking the hell out of me, but that's all right.
Mr. President, welcome back to Maryland, sir. Welcome back to Maryland. It's good to see you. It's in person too. Thank you, sir. Great to see you. Great to see you. And great to have you back here. Great to have you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we are very, very anxious to be able to work closely with you, and I know the Key Bridge is something that we're it's going well. I mean, we spoke with Speaker Johnson yesterday, and Speaker Johnson says he believes that we're close to the 100% cost share. And the thing is, I told him when we get that 100% cost share done, we are going to be able to go over the Key Bridge under your watch, because I will have it done in 28, on time and on budget.
It will help you out.
Thank you, sir.
Now, y'all saw that. Now, when did that man tell him he was the best president in his lifetime? I'm sorry, because that's the meeting he was talking about right there. So when did that man say that in the conversation? Trump, why do you tell the most ridiculous, asinine lies that nobody besides a fool would believe? I have several questions. Okay, retired federal police Banks says Queen is a critical thinker, intelligent, logical, analytical. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate your kind words, and thank you for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Trump needs to sit down somewhere. Now let's go to what Governor Pritzer had to say about Trump that done. Okay, I don't even care what the charges are, he said. All right. Trump, they have it in for you. Okay, and I absolutely am here for it. Tell him, Pritzer.
It's about Donald Trump searching for any justification to deploy the military in a blue city, in a blue state, to try and intimidate his political rivals. This is about the President of the United States and his complicit lackey, Stephen Miller, searching for ways to lay the groundwork to circumvent our democracy, militarize our cities, and end elections. There is no emergency in Chicago that calls for armed military intervention.
Hi again, everyone. It's now 5 o'clock in the East on what is turning into a huge day of news. In the last hour, we heard from that man, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzer, calling out Donald Trump's threats to send the National Guard to his city or his state, into the city of Chicago, which would be a repeat of what we are seeing right now on the streets of Washington, D.C. Governor Pritzker's point there that Donald Trump twists and turns his authority and the levers of government so he is able to intimidate his political rivals is quite evident, not just in his command of the military, but in his handling of what should be a politically independent arm of the executive branch, and that is our system of justice. The latest example being Friday's search by the FBI of Donald Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton's home and office. Bolton, who left the first Trump White House on bad terms, has been in Donald Trump's sights before. One of Donald Trump's first moves when he returned to office in January was to strip John Bolton of his security detail, despite Bolton being on the receiving end of a clear threat from Iran over the Trump administration's killing of a major Iranian general in 2020. Washington Post editorial board said Friday's search crossed a line. They write this, quote, the government needed to show probable cause to get a judge to sign the search warrant, so it is possible there was a rock-solid predicate for the search. But Trump's promises of retribution and revenge make the government's motive suspect. It is a valid fear that the case against Bolton is a fresh instance of the old Soviet saying, quote, show me the man and I'll show you the crime. One former Trump ally turned frequent critic, Chris Christie, slammed the Bolton search, saying this yesterday.
Donald Trump sees himself as the person who gets to decide everything. He absolutely rejects the idea that there should be separation between criminal investigations and the politically elected leader of the United States. This is much different than it's ever been run before. But look, let me say candidly to the American people who are watching, we were told that this was what he was going to do, and not by me, by Donald Trump during the 2024 campaign, that he was going to have a Justice Department that acted as his personal legal representation.
Now, either wittingly or unwittingly, Donald Trump, in a post on social media hours after Chris Christie said that on television, seemed to prove Chris Christie's point. Trump brought up the 2013 Bridgegate scandal, to which Trump then asked, quote, for the sake of justice, perhaps we should start looking at that. A very serious situation again. Someone else already.
Somebody said that it sounded like she was calling him chump. She is calling him that. I literally just heard her. She absolutely is calling him chump, not Trump.
He thinks he's Trump's big next target. Friend of this show and another critic, Miles Taylor, former official at the Department of Homeland Security in the first Trump administration. Here's what Miles told my colleague on the weekend about how he felt after learning about the Bolton search.
We expect it. I mean, really, we expect it. And that's what is so surreal about.
Okay. I'm going to what Pritzer said about Trump. I was hoping they were going to play all of that, but they didn't. So I had to find it on TikTok really quick. But Pritzker sends warning to Trump on National Guard threat. Do not come to Chicago. Okay? You're not wanted there, Trump. Please sit down somewhere. Okay, so I have two clips of him talking about Trump. Here we go.
Over the weekend, we learned from the media that Donald Trump has been planning for quite a while now to deploy armed military personnel to the streets of Chicago. This is exactly the type of overreach that our country's founders warned against. And it's the reason that they established a federal system with a separation of powers built on checks and balances. What President Trump is doing is unprecedented and unwarranted. It is illegal. It is unconstitutional. It is un-American. We found out what Donald Trump was planning the same way that all of you did. We read a story in the Washington Post. If this was really about fighting crime and making the streets safe, what possible justification could the White House have for planning such an exceptional action without any conversations or consultations with the governor, the mayor, or the police? There is no emergency in Chicago that calls for armed military intervention. Not one person here today will claim we have solved all crime in Chicago, nor can that be said of any major American metro area. But calling the military into a U.S. city to invade our streets and neighborhoods and disrupt the lives of everyday people is an extraordinary action, and it should require extraordinary justification. Find a family who's enjoying today sitting on their front porch and ask if they want their neighborhoods turned into a war zone by a wannabe dictator.
Y'all heard that? Not a wannabe dictator. It's exactly what he is. Okay, let's go to this next clip. It's exactly what Trump is.
Do not come to Chicago.
As you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him. Freedom, freedom. He's a dictator. He's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense, and I'm a smart person.
Mr. President, do not come to Chicago. You are neither wanted here nor needed here. Your remarks about this effort over the last several weeks have betrayed a continuing slip in your mental faculties and are not fit for the auspicious office that you occupy. Most alarming, you seem to lack any appropriate concern as our commander-in-chief for the members of the military that you would so callously deploy as pawns in your ever more alarming grabs for power. Any federal official who would come to Chicago and try to incite my people into violence as a pretext for something darker and more dangerous, we are watching and we are taking names. This country has survived darker periods than the one that we're going through right now, and eventually the pendulum will swing back. Maybe even next year. Donald Trump has already shown himself to have little regard for the many acolytes that he has encouraged to commit crimes on his behalf. You can delay justice for a time, but history shows you cannot prevent it from finding you eventually. If you hurt my people, nothing will stop me, not time or political circumstance, from making sure that you face justice under our constitutional rule of law.
Woo, honey, protect that man at all costs. Donald Trump, did you hear that? Y'all hear that? Trump needs to sit down somewhere. I'm telling you, somebody better stand up to him before it's too late. Okay, Pritzer sends warning to Trump on National Guard threat. Do not come to Chicago. Okay, in his remarks, Pritzer warned the president not to come to Chicago and said, if you hurt my people, nothing will stop me. Now, Trump on Friday said he plans to send the National Guard to Chicago to them next as part of his attempts to curb violence in multiple U.S. cities, which began with similar measures taken in Washington, D.C. The president has recently escalated his focus on public safety, particularly in Democratic cities, saying we will solve Chicago within 1 week, maybe less, but within 1 week, we will have no crime in Chicago, just like we have no crime in D.C. Does he really think people believe this? Does he really think that people foolishly believe that there's no crime in D.C.? Okay, anyway, the lies need to stop. Okay, so that's what he told reporters on Monday while calling the city a killing field. Chicago's a disaster. The governor of Illinois should say, President, will you do us the honor of cleaning up our city? We need help. They need help. They need help. Trump gave no indication on timing of such measures, saying only, we may wait, we may or may not. We may just go in and do it, which is probably what we should do. He went on to say that he would offer or he would prefer to be asked to call in the National Guard, saying, I hate to barge in on the city and then be treated horribly by corrupt politicians, the bad politicians, like a guy like Pritzer. He ought to spend more time in the gym, actually. The guy's a disaster. So can Trump say needs to spend time in the gym? Has he looked in the mirror lately? Has he seen himself? Do y'all hear this? He's talking about this man needs to spend more time in the gym. Trump, you're the one who eats all the McDonald's every day. Okay. Pritzer, flanked by prominent lawmakers and leaders, including Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul, and U.S. Senator Tammy Buckworth, U.S. Senator Dick Durbin, and Father Michael Fletcher, among others, responded to Trump's request in his remarks, saying earlier today in the Oval Office, Donald Trump looked at his assembled cameras and asked for me personally to say, Mr. President, can you do this
Can you do us the honor of protecting our city? Instead, I say, Mr. President, do not come to Chicago. And you all know the rest. Okay, so in his message, Pritzker called Trump's plan to send the National Guard unprecedented, unwarranted, illegal, unconstitutional, and un-American. Saying, if it sounds to you like I'm an alarmist, that is because I am ringing an alarm, one that I hope every person listening to will heed, both here in Illinois and across the country. Okay, so anyway, I want y'all to pay attention, because they also say that violent crime in Chicago dropped significantly in the first half of the year, representing the steepest decline in over a decade, according to city data. Okay, shootings are down 37% and homicides have dropped by 32%, while total violence crime dropped by over 22%. Okay, crime in Chicago also represents persistent localized challenges, according to Kimberly Smith, the director of national programs of the University of Chicago Crime Lab. The neighborhoods with the highest homicide rates experience approximately 68 times more homicides than those with the lowest rates. We're a shining example of what happens when working people stand together. This is what Johnson said during a press conference, saying the last thing that Chicagoans want is someone from the outside of our city who doesn't know our city trying to dictate and tell us what our city needs. As the mayor of the city, I can tell you that Chicagoans are not calling for military occupation. Okay, that's what Johnson said. Like, these people are sick of Trump. And there have been questions over whether Trump can even send troops to Chicago. Okay, let's just go to the footage. Let's just go to the footage. Like, so everyone, please like and share. Now, Brandon Johnson has been going back and forth with Trump for the past few days as well. I'm glad that they're at least standing up to him, because it seems like the people in Congress are just, I don't know, like they're just spooked.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to all of the state, local, county leaders that are here with us today. So let's just get to the facts. Over the past 2 years, we have seen significant reductions in crime and violence. In the last year alone, we have seen more than a 30% decline in homicides. Let me say that again. We've reduced homicides in 1 year by almost a third. We've launched a robberies task force with the Chicago Police Department, effectively reducing robberies by almost 35%. We've worked closely with CPD to restructure the Detectives Bureau to bring the clearance rate up to 76%. It's the highest we've seen in more than a decade. We've worked with the Chicago Police Department and our community violence intervention, CVI partners, to reduce shootings by almost 40%. Almost 40%. We've done that in 1 year. This is significant progress, and it's historic progress. We've had the safest April in the city of Chicago since 1962, more than 6 decades. And according to FBI data, Chicago is not in the top 25 of the most dangerous cities in the United States. These facts are indisputable and widely acknowledged. Yet there are those who want to twist our words to make it seem as though we think that our job is finished. So let me be perfectly clear. Our work to make our city safer still continues. And while we have made progress, that doesn't mean that we will rest. In fact, we know that we have more work to do. And that work is what wakes me up every single day. It's what I think about before I go to bed. That is our focus every single day, and it will continue to be our top priority until Chicagoans feel safe in their neighborhoods, regardless of their zip codes. We cannot call ourselves a safe city until every Chicagoan in our beloved city feels safe, whether you live in Austin or North Lawndale or South Shore. Every single Chicagoan deserves to feel safe. There are those who might ask, If we have seen consistent historic reductions in crime and violence across our city over the past 2 years, and if we are not even in the top 25 most dangerous cities, then why are we now being targeted by the Trump administration for a military occupation? We are being targeted because of what and who we represent. Chicago was known as a working class city. We are the birthplace of the labor movement, and we will always be a union town. But we're also a diverse city, Black and Latinx, Asian, Indigenous, and whites. We are a city with vibrant neighborhoods that represent every single nationality and every immigrant community from around the world, with more than 40 different language groups that are spoken in homes across Chicago. And we are a progressive city. We believe in investing in people. We believe in standing up for the most vulnerable among us. We believe that the solution to homelessness is not the National Guard, but it is housing. Building affordable housing across American cities should be our top priority.
Miss Sheila said you are lying about the numbers. You said he's lying about the numbers. Don't worry, so is Trump.
We believe that the solution to immigration is not to separate families and throw grandmothers into the back of vans with unmarked vans and masked individuals. The solution is comprehensive immigration reform that allows anyone who wishes to come to our city or our country. If they want to work, they should have a pathway to citizenship. We believe that the solution to poverty is not incarceration, it's investment. Instead of declaring war on the poor, we should remember Lyndon B. Johnson's vision for a greater society that declares war on poverty. And we believe that you don't solve crime by sending in the military. You work every day towards constitutional policing and rebuilding trust between law enforcement and residents. You solve crimes and bring closure to victims when we ensure that our detectives division have all the tools that they need. You solve crimes and you bring closure to victims when we hold people accountable, of course, but we have to do it constitutionally. Due process, after all, is still a right for every single person in this country. That's how we reduce crime. So we are being targeted because of who we are as a city more than anything else. We are a shining example of what happens when working people stand together. The last thing that Chicagoans want is someone from the outside of our city who doesn't know our city try to dictate and tell us what our city needs. As the mayor of this city, I can tell you that Chicagoans are not calling for a military occupation. They are calling for the same thing that we've been calling for some time, and that's investment. What safe cities across America all have in common, they invest in people, and that's what we're doing in Chicago. We need the federal resources to make sure that we're building more affordable housing, expanding mental and behavioral health care, education, all of these things that could reduce crime and provide real community safety. Instead of spending hundreds of millions of dollars for a publicity stunt to invoke chaos and terror, the federal government should spend that money on proven solutions to crime and violence reduction. We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence. We've already tried that, and we've ended up with the largest prison population in the world without solving the problems of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that. It is racist, it is immoral, it is unholy, and it is not the way to drive violence down. We cannot return to the same failed strategies that got us here in the first place. Under the previous presidential administration, we requested more federal resources to address gun violence in our city. We continue to make that same call. We have made significant progress on our own, but there is so much more that we can do if we had real support from the federal government. Our communities need more federal resources for public safety. There's no question about that. But unsolicited, unwarranted military takeover is not needed. Our message is simple. Listen to what our people are actually calling for. We're calling for investments, resources. This stunt that this president is attempting to execute is not real. It doesn't help drive us towards a more safe, affordable big city. And so, in closing, we have some very simple demands. We are calling on the Trump administration to release the $800 million for violence prevention funds that he stole back in April. We are calling for more resources to stop the endless flow of guns into our city. And we are calling for transformational investments into affordable housing and community safety. I'm proud to stand with all the partners that are here today, as well as mayors and governors across this country. We will defend our democracy. We will protect our humanity. We will stand up for the interests of working people. And so that's the state, local government, the federal delegation that are all here, committed, standing firm in our values, standing up for the greatest freaking city in the world, the city of Chicago. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I see some of you all going in on this poor man. Some of you all sitting here talking about the man is fake. He's only for the immigrants. Y'all just going in on the man. So what do y'all want him to do? Let Trump come there and just take over and not say anything? I'm just confused. I'm just confused. Sherry said what he wants, more money. Yeah, that would be better than him coming there with the military. I'm sure they could use it for the homeless crisis they have going on. Okay, the veterans on the streets, the people with mental health issues, that's what they should be concerned about. If you ask me, that's what most of the cities in this country should be concerned about, getting more funding for people with mental health issues. Why are they closing down, or why did they close down so many of these mental health care facilities? Okay, and now you have these people roaming the streets. In many cases, looking for trouble. Okay, that's what they need to be asking for. They need to be doing something about the homeless crisis. Now, some of you all say that in this country they don't do anything to fix the poverty situation. No, they don't. They seem to demonize poor and struggling people, homeless people in this country. You can't even feed them in certain places. Okay, I've seen them come and snatch up people and arrest them for feeding the homeless or take the food and destroy it. That's insane to me. Why is that fine for them to do that? Okay, that's just real crazy as far as I'm concerned. But y'all are sitting here going in on the mayor, whether you like him or not. Now, he is speaking out against Trump, and I'm here for it at the end of the day. All right. Nene says he housed illegals and left Chicago residents on the streets. Did he? That's what he did. DJ Big Six said black Democrat mayors are all puppets. Aren't all politicians puppets, beloved? Please tell me which ones aren't. Republican President Ronald Reagan is responsible for removing funding from MHMR. Okay, with that all being said, Chicago is a cesspool of cartels, says Ms. Sheila. Well, according to the stats, it looks like the crime has gone down significantly. I mean, I'm sure there is still crime there, of course, but I looked it up and said the homicide rates have gone down over 30%. All right. Same year to date from 2025, the same period of 2024. Shootings 37.4%, robberies 33.2%, motor vehicle theft down 25%, overall violent crimes 21.6% from 24 to 2025. So y'all sitting up here saying the man was lying about the numbers, is he? Because that's what I looked up for my own research. I think some of y'all are just hard to please. Now, I'm not saying y'all should like this man or dislike him, because I don't. I'm just saying, if we're going to complain about Trump and then complain about the people that are speaking up against Trump, then what do y'all want? Because y'all say that nobody's saying anything, and when somebody does, that person isn't saying what y'all want to hear. Is that the problem? Because I'm inclined to think that some of y'all voted for Trump, okay? And now y'all sitting here whining and crying. All right? Sandra says, why is Brandon so upset? He flooded the city with illegals with no regard for residents. I guess he's upset because Trump coming there with armed soldiers, with armed military personnel, and saying that they in fact can engage in gunfire against civilians is a problem. Maybe that's why he's upset. At least that's what I would think. Okay, but anyway, I'm not here to debate whether y'all should like this man or not. I really don't care. At the end of the day, I know that Trump needs to be out of office. He needs to be taken to prison. Okay, that's where he needs to be headed. Anyway, with that all being said, let me give you all your lifelines, and then I'm out of here. Okay, for your eyes only. Great, it says remove the illegal immigrants. Well, they should remove illegal immigrants. Absolutely. Because you should be here legally. Now, I agree with that. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, they say this man is out here, or somebody's out here, a woman, shall I say, is out here doing dental work and using nail glue for your veneers. So if anybody is out here thinking about getting you a set of veneers, those fake teeth, those big teeth that look like chiclets in some cases, just be careful and do your due diligence, because Lord, they're out here using nail glue. Okay, please pay attention. So let's get into it. Don't say I didn't warn you, is all I'm telling you.
To make the teeth look better appearance wise, and it's kind of like putting shellac on a wall and making it look better and painting it.
A warning tonight from a Tampa dentist. Make sure the dentist you use has a proper license.
Yeah, good advice. The warning comes as a woman faces criminal charges for illegally giving her clients veneers. Investigative reporter Brittany Muller first dug into this case 7 months ago. She joins us now live in studio with an update. What a story, Brittany.
Helen and Keith, good evening. Investigators say it's believed Emily Martinez used nail glue, yes, nail glue, to attach veneers to her victim's teeth. Licensed dentists say if a deal on dental work seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Pinellas Park police say Emily Martinez promised to give her clients a killer smile at a killer price. Back in January, we told you when she was operating the Tap-In Beauty Bar under the alias Jasmine Martinez while presenting herself as a licensed professional. A licensed dentist will cost around $1,200 per tooth, while Martinez was offering a full set of veneers for a quarter of the cost.
Uninformed patients, uninformed consumers that don't really know what they're getting into, typically when this is done, it makes the problem double, triple, quadruple worse.
And that's exactly what police say happened. Dr. Christopher Bolness has practiced general dentistry in Tampa since 2001. Under Florida law, only qualified dentists can install veneers.
People think that because these advertisements are on Facebook or Instagram that they're legitimate advertisements. And a lot of the time, it's just a regular person that has no licensing, no experience, no education doing procedures like this.
Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? Just a regular person advertising to do something they have no training in, okay? You all better stop getting these T-Move specials. Okay, y'all better be careful, okay? They're out here doing T-Move veneers, all right? Please pay attention. Miss Sheila said, love you, Queen. Thank you, beloved, and I love you right black. Okay, thank you for your kind words and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Y'all, this is crazy. Nail glue? I would imagine that wouldn't hold very long, okay? This is all a hot mess.
According to this arrest affidavit, Martinez incorrectly applied veneers, which caused one victim to need emergency dental care. Pinellas Park Police Sergeant Wendy Vader says it's believed Martinez used nail glue to attach the veneer to the victim's teeth, but that's not all.
We have information that even like possibly pulling teeth and charging people.
7 months before Martinez's arrest, I spoke with her on the phone. She told me she took an online course to learn how to fix her 11-year-old daughter's smile after her teeth were knocked out. Martinez also said she was a dental assistant for 4 years and claimed to have the proper tools and training.
These are your teeth. You're only given one set when you're an adult. Once they go away, we're looking at other products that could cost you $50,000 to $80,000 to get you back with teeth chewing.
This is the fourth case against Emily Martinez for practicing dentistry without an active license. Now, Pinellas Park police investigators are asking for more victims to come forward.
I'm just surprised that someone would actually fall for this. Say, we're just going to glue this in.
Nail glue.
Well, they probably don't say it's nail glue,
No.
but whatever it is. So people do want veneers. I mean, if you do, what's the proper procedure? What do the dentists say about it?
Dr. Bolna says go talk to an expert. Go make sure that you're talking to your licensed dentist to make sure that you see all of your options, read the reviews, and remember, you only get one set of teeth.
That's what he said.
Yeah, do your research. Important.
Right.
You got to protect your smile.
Thank you.
I had to tell you all, honey. I had to let you all know about that because Lord forbid any of y'all be sitting up in this chat with them fake arts teeth glued on with nail glue. Honey. Okay, y'all know how disastrous that could have turned out for you. So y'all can thank me in advance. $3,000 veneers. Honey, they should have known something was wrong. Nene said bootleg veneer. Absolutely cannot. Do y'all hear this? Woo, honey, the queen could never, is all I'm saying, okay? The queen could never, honey. Thank God I got my own teeth for now. Thank God I got my own teeth for now, y'all. Woo, honey, what a whole entire mess. Can you imagine? Darius said ghetto tooth special. Woo, honey, imagine that. Imagine going to get your teeth fixed and then having to talk like this all day. Sitting there looking like Bucky the Beaver, honey, big arse chiclet teeth. Woo, honey, I cannot. Anyway, I saved y'all some trouble. Please pay attention. So anyway, I'm out of here. Listen, everyone, please like and share. Like and share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I may be back later on. I'm not going to promise, honey. If there's some breaking news, yeah, I'll be back. But I may just take a break for the day, honey. I'm not sure. Y'all check the channel anyway between 6 and 6:30 just to see. Okay, because I might come back. You never know. But anyway, honey. RG Tyson said, not Bucky the Beaver. Miss Sheila said her stomach hurts. Ooh, honey. Okay, but anyway, listen, I love you all to life. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Hit him with that flavor. All in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got